to place to keep all of your stuff, including your cordless pruner. I do have to warn you, we only have fewer than 330 to go around for the entire country, and you've never seen this before. I love it when we bring something brand new. $79.95, and Justin Hyatt is here to show us why everyone's got to have one of these. Yeah. I've never seen anything like this, Justin.
Yeah, if you have, they're usually probably corded, and you've probably seen the other hand pruners.
Oh,
like
that's the one, that's the hand breaker.
This might as well be just like you're working your hand out. It's like one of those medicine little handballs, right? This is gonna be the power of your hand. Instead of having to worry about squeezing, all you have to do is squeeze the trigger with your new Scotch pruner. And just like that, you can start to be able to cut all of those branches that are about 3/4 of an inch thick. So you are no longer having to feel that pain. So if you have dexterity issues, if you have arthritis issues, this weighs nearly nothing, has extremely sharp blades. You can cut through all of that. Now we're thinking about when and how to prune. You're gonna be wanting to prune when it comes to the end of winter, early spring, depending on what you're wanting to prune.
Probably right around now.
Because the whole idea is, right, so the end of winter, now it depends on what it is, when it's blooming. The real rule of thumb is, does it bloom during the spring? If it's gonna bloom during the spring, what we wanna do is we wanna wait till those blooms or flowers actually bloom and then start to fade away. Then you can start to prune. If it's during the summer or fall that they start to bloom, then do it during the early winter time while they're dormant. But now you can actually get in there and be able to do all of those hard to do jobs that maybe you haven't been doing because it's just too much of a pain on your hands. So if you have those rose bushes, the hydrangeas that really are kind of starting to grow wild, it's because just like our hair, that starts to grow wild. If we don't cut it, you still need to be able to do the same thing with your plants.
Can I try it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because it's interesting. So all you do is push this button.
So you're gonna push the little safety button, which is right here.
Okay.
And now pull the trigger.
Which is kind of how you hold it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta hold it down all the way.
Oh, that's it.
That's it.
Well, that's a lot easier than actually using. So it's actually doing all the leverage. Look at that.
Exactly.
Big
and you can do
too.
that 500 times on just one charge. So if you're wanting to really get into all of those bushes, the rose bushes, any of the hydrangeas, if you have any of those fruit plants that maybe you just picked up from some of your local stores, you want to be able to promote new growth, which is the whole reason why we go and we start pruning. We always think of it kind of as an aesthetic thing, right? We want to prune so it makes everything look prettier. But the whole idea is that you want to be able to do it so that you have newer growth, more buds, so you can actually make it look a lot prettier when it actually starts to bloom.
So how big of a plant, like how big of a dimension can
so
it
it's about
cut?
3/4 of an inch thick would be the thickest that you would want to go.
All right, I'm gonna hand it back.
This is all dead wood, but you can see just how easy that is to just cut right through there. So when
it's a smooth cut,
It is. So the whole idea is the cleaner the cut, the better it is for your plant. So if you have, well, if you think of it aesthetically as well, right? If it looks like it's just kind of all torn up, actually we have one, I'll show you the other end of here. If it looks all torn up like that, it doesn't look great, but it makes your trees, your bushes, your shrubs more susceptible to diseases and to bugs. So you want to have a cleaner cut like that so you don't have to worry about it.
Well, we brought in a few bushes for you to actually show us kind of what it would look like. And this will do 500 cuts on one charge, and then all you do is just plug it right back in, right?
Yeah, so again, we want to promote new growth. You might have some of these branches that are kind of having like little cross through. Not only is it promoting new growth, but sometimes they just grow wild to the point where they can't sustain as much greenery or flowers as they want. So when it comes to aesthetic, you might be thinking, oh, okay, this looks a little out of place, right? So we want to just go ahead and trim the top here, keep it nice and even. Now when we're doing this, we want to be able to have it so that you're also giving your plant size, right? We're controlling the size of it, makes it easier for maintaining as well. But you also want to be able to get off some of these little dead branches that are in here. Now we don't have necessarily a lot of dead branches, but we have some new ones. When it comes to any of these cross ones, they're starting to grow wild out of the side here. Now you're starting to be able to have actual just feeling of size and shape to what you have. Now we have some that are here that are starting to grow. You might want to cut off a lot of the top right here. Some of these ones that are right here in the bottom section, these are, we call like the suckers that are taking the water out of your actual plant. So we don't necessarily need these. So we can go in here and just go ahead and prune the bottom of them and just get rid of them. Now these could be small, dead, or older plants or older stems that you want to get rid of. The bottom of your base should be clean. You don't want to be able to have those that are typically taking the water out of the rest of the plant. So not only are you reshaping, but you're giving health and water and nutrients back to the actual plant that's up higher in the in your bush or your shrubs.
Now, the other alternative is this.
Right.
I actually have long fingers. I can do an octave on the piano. But if this entire movement is what it would take to get one of those branches off. And then for the dimension that we're talking about, it's like this. You get there and you're like,
oh yeah.
Right, maybe 2 hands. Well, then you're just gonna leave them, to be honest. You're not really gonna do all the pruning you need to. This, just the touch of a button, you can see there, he's touching a button and it's pruning even the thickest of branches. So what did you say, up to 3/4 of an inch or something?
3/4 of an inch, and it's really all about, like you're saying, when it comes to dexterity in your hands, if you're just suffering from arthritis or just not, I mean, how many times can you just simply go out into your bush, right, into your yard and just start cleaning before you're just sitting there thinking, okay, my hand's tired.
Don't they do those for like your forearm? Because it's not just
like
even
Popeye.
your hand, right?
You look like Popeye.
They have those like the balls or like the gripper things that actually strengthen your forearms. So at the end of a pruning day, you go in and your hand and your fingers and your forearm aching. This is, can you show us, let's show us really close up. Here, hold this right over here.
Yep.
All you do is with the push of a finger.
You see that little button right here?
Yeah.
Okay, that is what I'm gonna push first. That's the safety button. Then I'm gonna pull the trigger.
That's it.
That's it. Now I'm gonna keep that shot. Now what we would typically do is we're squeezing with our hands, and as Shannon was saying to you before, I mean, to be able to have your hands all the way spread out to then squeeze into that, when all you have to do now is grab that little safety button, which is right here, push that down, and let the Scott's pruner just do the work for you. And speaking of Scott's, they've been around for 150 years.
Wow.
Did you know that? Like since like 1868, like the Civil War is when he first came out with that Miracle Grow that we all know and trust. But again, this is a name brand that we love when it comes to our gardening, and now also our gardening tools. Now you also want to be able to cut at a 45-degree angle. So imagine being able to now have the control. When we always get those bushes, or the roses, right? For Valentine's Day, we always think we always have to cut them, right? It's better for when they're in our pots, you know, in our vases, excuse me. Or vases, whatever you want to call them.
You're fancy, so I think you call them vases.
Your vases, right, if you want in your vases. Well, that 45 degrees actually for the rose bush that it was cut from. It's better to now have that 45-degree angle on the rose bush that you've cut it from to promote that growth for the new season. Okay. So, of course, we do it for the plants that we have in our vases. Yes. But we want to do that for the plants we also have in our yard.
You know, when you're talking about that, so this is for pruning, but if you do get fresh cut flowers, you know, once you get them home, you have to trim them. This is going to be the easiest way to trim them. I bet you could probably trim a whole bouquet at once with the push of one button instead of trimming and trimming and trimming. So this is what you're getting, and this is from Scott's, the name that you've known and trusted for 150 years. It's $79.95. It is brand new to us here at HSN. You can put $26.65 on any major credit card, and we will send this right to you. Here's how easy it is to charge up, and then you get 500 trims just before you have to recharge it. But you're going to use this over and over and over again. Yep. We are very limited in the amount that we have, so this will likely sell out this morning as everybody's waking up. There might still be snow on the ground where you are. I promise you, there will be buds in the spring when the bunnies and the chickies and the eggs come out. It's time to start pruning your bushes and start pruning for the best looking garden out there.
Yeah, and if you want to have the best looking, it comes down to pruning, when to prune. Again, if it's you're really getting this and picking it up at the right time, because if this is a springtime, you want to wait till after spring or even just early spring and late winter. So when you get this at home, figure out which bush you have and then go out in the garden and now have the power to go ahead and grab all of those thick little branches and be able to cut them and be able to cut them at the proper angle that you want to as well, just by pressing the button. You don't have to worry about squeezing anymore with your hands. This is great for anybody who's a little older, who's a seasoned gardener, as we might say. But you want to be able to get out back into the garden and do all of that. So if you want more fruit, if you want more flowers, the best thing to do is get out there and start pruning. It's the whole way that you really get your plants to look healthier by giving them tough love. Really, it's tough love.
Yeah, tough love.
It's tough love.
Nobody ever says, I don't want more fruit or more flowers.
No fruit, no flowers.
All of that. Thank you so much, Justin. Get yours while we still have them in stock before they all sell out. A very, very limited quantity on that. And what a great solution. All right, we have